Now we're going to look at a series of methods that we can use to change strings or create new strings rather, or tell us something about the strings. I divide these roughly into two concepts, one transforming, another inspecting. Transforming is a little bit of a misnomer. Let's look closely at what I mean by transforming. If var is hello, H-E-L-L-O, and I say var.upper, what comes back from upper is a new string. In fact, var doesn't change, so transforming isn't really the right way to say it. Var.upper returns a new string, and that new string is exactly like the old string, except that all of the alpha characters have been uppercased. So you can see how it works. And you can see that upper takes no argument. It's kind of interesting to consider that upper takes no argument because most functions do, except maybe exit. So how can upper take no argument? Well, don't forget that we're calling upper on var, which is a string. And when we call a method on a string, what we're usually doing is doing something with that string. We're either creating a new string based on the old string, or we may be inspecting the string, which we'll do in the next video. But you can see that basically var is sort of like an implicit argument to upper. It's involved, it's in there, we're using that string. And so upper doesn't actually need an argument because all we're really doing is saying, take this string that is pointed to by var, uppercase it, and return a new string. Similarly, lower works in exactly the same way. Replace, we looked at that before. We take the old string, we replace one search string with a replacement string, and we get back a new string. That new string, which hasn't changed var, it's only created a new string. That new string is like the old string except for the replacement substitution. The format method. This is a method that I'm hoping you're going to use very frequently. Format allows us to insert data into strings. Look closely at the arguments to format. AA and var. And what are their types? AA is a string. var is an integer. Note closely at what we see when we print BB. And compare it to what you're seeing in the format string. The format string, which is here, is saying blank is blank years old. And you can think of those curly braces as blanks. Blank is blank years old. And AA and var are passed to format. This call is actually, and so AA, which is Jose, and var, which is 34, get inserted in the two blanks, and the resulting string has the replacements made. Jose is 34 years old. Now, this is a little bizarre because we're calling format on a literal string. You could call it on a named string too. You could call it on a variable name. Variable name.format, var.format, or whatever your string is. But a lot of times we just specify the string as a bare string, something we call a literal string. And we can call format on that literal string. So it's making those replacements. It's putting Jose and 34 into the string at the proper places. If you had too many or too few arguments, you'd end up with an error. So you do need to be aware of what's in the format string so that you can replace the correct number. Another kind of replacement that we can make is, and we're going to end up with the same result here, is tokens that have names. So if you say name equals AA and age equals var, it'll now insert those values in the tokens at the names. So all of these transforming methods, and there are a great number of others, although we don't use that many, are taking the string and returning a new string. That's how these particular methods happen to work.